If every 8-year-old in the world is taught meditation, we will eliminate violence from the world within one generation. Dalai Lama. Okay, ladies, so every week I've decided to do kind of a theme for a week. Last week it was leadership and motherhood, and I thought I'd start from the beginning, from where I started, and that was with meditation and mindfulness and teaching this to my son, who is now 14. So a decade ago, 10 years ago, I started on this personal development journey of, I guess you could call it awakening, but realizing there's a lot that we're not taught as children. There's a lot that we're not taught collectively as adults. And in order to become the people that we most desire our children to become, we have to take action and learn these skills ourselves. So before I dive into today's podcast, I want to remind you we are still accepting applications for the Mastery Program. The bonus ends this Wednesday, January 31st, 2019 at midnight Eastern Standard Time when you head on over to that's Thursday night, not Wednesday night, January 31st at midnight. You qualify for the bonus. So head on over to momisincontrol.com. This is for my 8-month mastery coaching experience. I am going to rock your world. The amount of support that you will gain through this process is priceless. So what happens after you fill out your application at momisincontrol.com? You will, I personally read and respond to your application, and then you will get on the phone with someone on my team for an introductory call. If it still feels like a good fit and all is well, then you and I will connect, and I will support you from there. So that's for the Mamas in Control Mastery Program. To qualify for the bonus, which is a ticket to attend the one-day mastermind event, if you are available to come to Windsor, Ontario, February 22nd. This is where you're going to be meeting a lot of other mastery students and some outsider people who will come in, and we have a ghostwriter. My ghostwriter is going to be there, so we're going to be talking about authentically pulling that message out of you. So it's about authenticity, it's about meaning, it's about connection, and these are high vibration women who are all here to make a difference. You do not need to be a CEO of a corporation to attend this event. What you do need is drive and ambition and just an idea. That's it. So think about hanging out with myself and a handful of like-minded women. The connections you're going to make are going to be priceless. So if mastery is something you're interested in, head on over to momisincontrol.com to qualify for that bonus before Thursday night. And because I am also, the theme for this week is going to be meditation and mindfulness, and I'll be sharing some more stories about where I started and how that went out and some tools and strategies for you. But I also thought, why not give those people an opportunity to take action, because you know I'm all about action. So I am going to be giving you 50% off. That is almost a $300 savings, 50% off of my Teach Your Kid to Meditate program if you use the promo code podcast. So all you have to do is go to my website, heatherchauvin.com. You will see where it says work with me. Click on Teach Your Kids to Meditate, and you're also going to see all the additional bonuses that I have in that program for you. That is worth well over $1,500, and you can get it for $248 for this week only. This promo code will expire on February 1st. So go to my website, heatherchauvin.com, and check out the Teach Your Kids to Meditate product under the Work With Me page. Use the promo code podcast. Okay, back to today's podcast. If every 8-year-old in the world is taught meditation, we will eliminate violence from the world within one generation. The Dalai Lama. Meditation and mindfulness, I don't want to say it gets a bad rap, but a lot of us overwhelm ourselves with possibilities of what this can look like. probably because there's many forums out there and, the ego kicks in and everybody wants to know, am I doing it right? Heather, am I doing this right? How do I get my child to do this? So I want to paint this painfully slow for you. A pretty picture. You have lungs, right? You can inhale and exhale, right? Like this. Do that for 10 minutes. Do that for 3 minutes. You have successfully meditated. The point of meditation, in my perspective, this is my own personal perspective, is one, it's an Eastern philosophy. It's an Eastern tool. We live in a Western culture. There's a big difference, right? So understand that this is progress, not perfection, and it's practice. We're not all monks shaving our heads, leaving our families, going to live, in the Himalayas somewhere. We are modern day people with full schedules and full lives and responsibilities, lots of them. So using meditation and mindfulness to help you maintain your emotional and mental well-being is essential. It is something that when I first started, I started to incorporate it from a traditional perspective, that every single morning I would sit there on my mat and I would meditate. And every single morning, it was a ritual and I would implement that. And now I find myself being able to use meditation and mindfulness throughout my day. Checking in with myself, saying, Heather, how do you feel? And if I'm overwhelmed, just taking 60 seconds, closing my eyes, taking a few deep breaths in, a few deep breaths out, and repeating that process and getting myself back to a space of feeling grounded. So meditation and mindfulness is not something you need to overwhelm yourself with. It's not something you need to say, I don't have time for this. Because if you don't have time for meditation or mindfulness, or another terminology for it is mindful-based stress reduction, what's happening is you're consciously choosing not to make time for the life that you want. And in order to do that, when you say, I'm choosing not to feel in alignment, what you're also saying is, I'm okay with my misery. I'm okay with my pain. I'm okay with my discomfort. You're choosing. By not doing something and using the excuse that you don't have time for it, you are actively choosing to say, I am content where I am. So you have to take responsibility for that. Are you okay with the choices you've made in your life? If the answer is no, then start with mindfulness. Start with meditation. So I remember the first time I got on my mat, I closed my eyes, my thoughts all over the place, overwhelmed, scared, afraid. This is the stuff we run away from. I tell my clients all the time, step 1, close your eyes. Step 2, inhale. Step 3, exhale. Too often we find ourselves running away, mentally running away and busying ourselves. I say we're in a culture of addiction to busy, that this overwhelm is just an addiction to busy. So when we stop and we breathe and we sit still and we sit and we organize, right? A few weeks ago, I talked about the Marie Kondo, the art of tidying up, or whatever the Japanese art of tidying up, and her Netflix series. Well, think about this for your mind. Does this thought spark joy? Does this thought spark joy? No? Okay. Then visualize that thought leaving your body. You are worthy of joy. You are. You are worthy of everything. You are worthy of achieving every single little desire inside of your being, which is why it was planted there. I had a conversation with a woman last week, and she said, oh my gosh, I really want to run this marathon. And I remember thinking, I don't want to fucking run that marathon. But why would that desire be planted in her and not me? We all have individual desires and wants and needs. So when we honor our own needs, we then fulfill our purpose. So meditation helped me kind of declutter my mind. But I will tell you, at first, it became worse before it got better. Kind of like when you're starting to declutter a closet. You have to take everything out of the closet. You have to organize it. You have to ask yourself, what do I want? What don't I want? And then put it back in there. That's what happens to your mind. So when you sit and you meditate for 3 minutes, closing your eyes, inhale, exhale, keep doing it. Inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale. You start to ask yourself, whoa, what am I thinking? Where am I going? Why am I doing this? And I cannot tell you enough why or how meditation and mindfulness have drastically shifted my life, like my whole way of being in the world. So when I first started this process, hence the reason why the program is called Teach Your Kid to Meditate, was because I told myself, my son needs to meditate. He's crazy. He's overwhelmed. He is out of control. He has no control over his anger. He has no control over his anxiety. And I could see myself going into the fear-based mode, right? Fear-based mindset. I was like, oh my gosh. I've talked to all the doctors. I've talked to, I'm a social worker. I was a social worker at the time. I've talked to the therapist. Nobody can help me. And mindfulness back then wasn't as popular as it is now. So I created the program called Teach Your Kid to Meditate because when I first started, he needed to meditate. I didn't need to meditate. And I'm saying that with a little snicker in my voice. Because what I was doing was I was projecting my own anxiety onto him. Oh my gosh, he doesn't have control over his anxiety. I don't have control over my anxiety. Oh my God, he needs to meditate. I need to be able to help him, to control him. I need to control myself. So through the process of Teach Your Kids to Meditate and mindfulness, I teach you how to incorporate mindfulness into your own life, but also including it with your children. And it doesn't look the way that you think it does. I get so many questions, and I answer a lot of these questions inside that program through the Q&As that I answered when it was live. So if you want to check it out, go to my website at heatherchauvin.com. And if you use the promo code podcast, like podcast, you'll get 50% off until Friday, February 1st. And you'll also see all the added bonuses that are inside that program. So if the Teach Your Kids to Meditate portion is not what you're attracted to, you also get additional bonuses there. So check that out. So meditation and mindfulness. 1, you're overcomplicating it. 2, start somewhere. 2 minutes a day will keep the doctor away. All right, ladies, you got this. Back tomorrow. And if you have any questions about meditation and mindfulness, send them to me on Instagram at Mom is in Control.